The vacuum flask was created for two purposes. The first one is to keep a warm drink warm for a long period of time. The second one is to keep a cold drink cold for a long period of time. Either way, the vacuum flask must be excellent at reducing heat transfers. The vacuum flask in front of you has a warm cup of tea in it. As we can see, the tea is heating the air above it, which is trying to rise out of the flask. This is convection. The convection is stopped by the stopper. So we could say that convection is prevented by simply putting a lid on the flask. However, this lid is made of plastic. This is because plastic is an insulator. So any of the heat from the steam, no heat from the steam, will be able to conduct through that plastic stopper. However, the tea is in contact with the glass walls of the flask. This might allow some conduction. So, inside the glass walls we have a vacuum. A vacuum is an empty space where there are no particles whatsoever. We know that conduction requires particles. We know conduction cannot happen without particles. So the vacuum between the glass sheets of in the walls of the flask will stop any heat loss by conduction. So that's convection and conduction taken care of. We still have to tackle radiation. We know radiation can travel through a vacuum. So, to prevent heat being lost by radiation through the walls of the glass, we paint the walls of the glass silver. We know that silver will reflect infrared radiation. So as any heat travels towards the side of the glass, or the side of the flask rather, they are reflected by the silver colour back into the drink. As a result, this flask is excellent at preventing conduction, convection and radiation. This is why it can keep a drink warm for a very long period of time. In reverse, if we had a cold drink inside the flask and we wanted to keep the heat out to keep the drink cool, the silver coating on the glass would still reflect any radiation. The vacuum would still prevent any conduction entering the flask. And convection isn't an issue, as the flask is airtight, so there'll be no hot air being able to get inside the flask and the drink. This is why vacuum flasks are excellent at doing the job.